All right. Yes, people. We're back again for another episode of Trafford Talk. How we doing? What's good? What's up? It's your boy Cam with some guests, Ahmed, Natalie, Rory. Thank you for joining. Appreciate it. I really do. Let's get, the usual admin stuff out the way. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, get involved in the comments. And let's keep it simple. So we're gonna get it. I'm just gonna get right into it, guys. On to another difficult draw for United, 5th round. Seems we do every year have a couple difficult games. Last year we had to go up against Wolves twice, then go through Chelsea. This year it's Liverpool. Now we're looking at West Ham, who is the best team in London right now. And that's not me trying to throw salt or be disrespectful. It's the truth. It's a fact, right? It's just a fact. And I know Rivals don't like hearing that. But to get started, Ahmed, I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your feelings? Because I know we're coming off a tough one. We're coming off a tough one. So how do you feel we're going to bounce back in this one, or do you feel we will? Or are you worried?
Oh man, well, Saturday still hasn't really sunk in after what happened in the 96th minute, despite 4 minutes at a time. It still hasn't sunk in. It's a shame that it turned out the way that it did. But having assessed the game a lot more and seen and looked back at it, I've noticed one or two things that United will need to fix. And I agreed with Kaya Mehdi on the show on Saturday night. We all thought it was the most difficult thing to say, but we agreed that the trifecta of Lindelof, De Gea and Maguire had something to do with that goal. But then tonight, here in England, we have the Monday Night Football. We had Jamie Carragher on the show, who, despite having a hard time yesterday, had looked back at that one moment where wide free kicks were a problem for numerous clubs during the weekend. Everton conceded from one, we conceded from one, and Liverpool nearly did as well. And what we noticed about ours was the organisation for that particular free kick was just not good enough. We weren't too high enough up the pitch, and it was well highlighted that the deeper we go, the more of a threat the free kick could pose as it comes into the penalty area. And as it showed, Maguire wasn't in position. It led to the ball coming to the fullbacks at the near post, Michael Keane getting that flick on, and Calvert-Lewin scoring. We need to organise the defenders a little bit more, and it's still then up from a fan's point of view. The question is, have we got the right men at the back? The easy answer really is no, because we're transitioning now from a team that counter-attacks to a team that has possession a lot more. And it's a frequent trend every match now. We're not all out going on the counter. If a team comes up against us with one intention, and that is to rattle our defense, we don't go back on the counter no more. We hold the ball, we try and progress it in and around the field and try and score a few goals. This is pretty much how United are, and the centre-backs are not ready for that. So evidently, until the summer, we will not be able to fix that particular problem. We also miss Eric Bailly. And Eric Bailly being injured right now is a bit of a problem, because with Maguire, he's our best centre-back. Without him, without Eric right now, we're maybe missing one or two elements of our play. So tomorrow will be hard, especially with West Ham's physical presence and good form recently, especially in the Premier League. They did lose to Liverpool, but we won't read too much into that. Liverpool had a good day that day. West Ham have overall been very consistent. And I'm not going to lie, they are knocking on the top four's door at the moment.
So you mentioned something there, and I'm going to pass it over to Natalie. When you say we weren't organized in the back, and that was a big issue, and getting organized in the back, and this comment from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, doesn't trust these clowns in defense. Natalie, whose job then? I mean, obviously it's the gaffer and the coaching staff job to make sure we're ready, but on the pitch, whose job should it be to make sure we're organized and ready to be in those situations? Because it's happened. I've lost count.
Yeah, time and time again. It's not good enough. Whose job? Well, it's your captain. The captain, the manager says, go out there, do this, do that, trains them all week. But then, it's the captain who takes that manager's philosophy, takes the manager's ideas, who should be leading by example. And unfortunately, it's the captain that's seen that we're making these mistakes. We know he's better with like I said, we know he's better with Bailly, but there's no Bailly. So for me, you have to step up even more, organise better. Because if you've not got that pace, then you should be organising it. But unfortunately, it was him that was playing half the team on. And it's like, you're the captain. It's a 96th minute. Come on, man. This is the time. This is the most crucial time when you should be aware, switched on, in position. You know, the time when you should be drilling them. That's what you work for all week in the training ground. And it's not good enough. I really think we need a new defender. Obviously, it's not going to happen now. It's not going to happen. We're building, but the captain really, and I don't like calling him out. I think he's a good guy, but he needs to do better.
Right. And when you say you don't like calling that, I mean, I have to call it a certain player, and Rory we'll speak about him, but I gotta call it a certain player that it hurts me to call out, and Ahmed knows this. David De Gea is probably my favorite player on the squad, and I've never said these words that it's time for him to take a step aside until yesterday, where just the strength in the box is just not coming. And we're not seeing it. It's the one thing. He's a shot stopper. He is easily one of the best in the world at stopping shots, but everything else is starting to lack a bit. Rory, how do you feel about David De Gea moving forward? Do you feel he was at fault for the goal?
He's been a good servant to us. I think it's time for him to go. Past couple of seasons, he's not been he's not been the quality that we know he can be. If you look at the first goal on Saturday, why are you not catching it, or why are you not punching it into non-dangerous areas? Do you know what I mean? You've palmed it in your 6-yard area. Like, I think any keeper at any level wouldn't have done that, in my honest opinion. Even, you know, with what game was it against Sheffield, the goal from the corner. Like, you've been in the Premier League long enough to know how physical it is. Put your body, you know, go through players. It's okay. And I don't feel that they understood the severity of that game. Like, we're not in a position to be dropping any points. We need to be killing off the games from early. We got the early goal, which was great. Was it the first 15, 20 minutes, which was great. It's just killing off the game. We have to do it within the first half. And obviously, not to go off tangent, but like I said, I feel like that he's got to go. He's got to go, in my honest opinion. Like, I love the guy. He was one of our most outstanding players for 3-4 years running during this whole Fergie leaving transition. But he's just, you know, he's on the decline. He's got to go. Hendo is the guy for it now, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and now, I mean, now is the perfect time, because now Hendo is basically he's been made the cup keeper. He's been silent about it, which I'm happy about. I'm impressed. You haven't seen his agent come out and say he wants to figure out, he wants to move, he wants to get game time. You saw some of those rumors, him being loaned out, coming out, but those weren't from his camp, and you could tell by the way they were written. You're right, Kyrie. He now deserves a run in the team outside of the cup tournaments. I think I read all these comments. I haven't had a chance to watch everything because I've been busy with work today, but I read that Ollie actually came out and said David De Gea has to earn his spot in the team. And that leads me to believe that he's going to be sat for a bit. And I want to see that, because I really enjoy when Ollie shows strength in these moments. He did it with Pogba, brought Pogba back in when Pogba was in form. He's done it with a bunch of different players throughout. We've seen it now. We're seeing it with Martial, where Martial was his guy. This is what people don't understand. He moved Lukaku out because his belief in Rashford and Martial. So now that Martial's kind of letting his confidence down and his trust, he's now put Cavani there. And so I've seen a lot of pundits say he's not strong enough with the team. He doesn't make the right decisions. And now with Pogba out, there's one thing you touched on, Rory, that we see our friends across the way, City, across your ways. I've obviously across the fucking world. But you see City, they close out games because they have control. Like, they know how to play with the ball. We do not know how to play with the ball. So, Ahmed, what do you think when it comes to selection now? And do you think Ollie's now, without Pogba, going to potentially give every fan what they've wanted, and we'll get to see Donny van de Beek a bit more in the coming games? Or do you think it's going to be the McFred show?
I mean, we're probably not to dampen the ambitions a little bit. I would love Donny van der Beek to get a run in the team. I would love him to be confident enough to take the game by a scruff of the neck and get United on, continue getting their run going. Keep that momentum we've had in the last couple of games at full throttle. My worry is that he will stick with McFred, the McTominay and Fred duo in midfield. And with no Eric Bailly and Paul Pogba, we are definitely feeling we're going to be feeling that little. Let's say we're going to be missing something in our overall game. I mean, Bruno can't do everything. I know that for sure. And I'd love to see what happens if Donny played in that match alongside either Matic or McTominay, because this sort of game is a physically imposing game, and West Ham will use their aerial threat as well as. I think you're going to come up against a team tomorrow that doesn't play football how we're used to seeing it. They play a much more forward-thinking game, but they were also happy to sit in a low block all day long, and it's a common theme with a lot of teams all season. The David Moyes, though, has played a brand of football that West Ham fans enjoy watching now. With selection, they're going to be looking at the easy exploitations. What exposed United the most on Saturday? Getting in the channels. And with our centre halves being very slow and not, exposed for pace, we're definitely going to see more of that in coming in the next few days. Saeed Benrahma and Jared Bowen both play on either side of the midfield.
Bowen put Telles to task last time we played.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a little bit of a fortune that he will play. He may play that game. He won't play that game tomorrow if Ollie wants to go with Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw may deal with that prospects a little differently to Alex Telles. This time, however, as I mentioned, that space in the channels, we've got to deal with it. If we can't deal with that tomorrow, I am very, very wary of Mikel Antonio being in that penalty area, and he's physical in there. He's also very good on the ball inside the 80-yard box. Offer him the chance to get a free shot at goal, it will be curtains for us. And I feel like this could be a narrow game because we don't always at home win games in cup ties by like big margins. We've won 1 goal in each of the rounds so far against Watford and against Liverpool. So we may concede tomorrow. We may also have to score a lot more goals than normal to kill off West Ham because this team, they keep scoring. They keep having fun in games. They make it hard for your opponents. So
I just wanted to kind of go on what you're saying there, segue into the danger men on their end. If we're going to be honest, I know that the ban, I don't think would have actually, if Souček's ban held up, which
has been lifted as of this
Happy
morning.
it didn't. I'm very happy it didn't because I was watching that live and I was outraged. I couldn't believe it. Who do you think, Natalie, would be some of the danger men on the West Ham side? Because since Antonio's come back, he's looked like a monster. He looks healthy. He looks strong. And then Souček he scored a goal with his feet the other day where it reminded me of the first time I saw Morata score with his feet. I was like, yo, this guy's got more to his game. Who would you feel the danger men are? I am worried about Souček and I am worried about Bowen the most because what he did to us last time was embarrassing.
Yeah, well, Antonio, like you've just said, like he's one that I've always sort of looked at and thought, what he can do. Like you say, he's looking strong. Just like I saw Lingard's goals, and I'm glad that he's not playing. And he looked.
Can he play for them against us?
No, he can't.
He can't, right? Yeah.
No. But he looked good. Coming back into form, and I'm glad he can't play because he's our player. But yeah, they just look like a different team in a way. Like you say, best team. The facts are there, and there's some dangerous players. But I like what Ahmed just said. I think we have to score more goals. I think definitely I can see it being 1 goal in it, but I can see it being potentially like another 3-2 or something like that because I'm confident. I don't know, just the way it's going. I think we can score as well against them. I think we showed in the last game we can get in between them. We can score, but maybe defensively they're not as they will always concede. They will always have that shakiness in them, but their attack is good. I can't remember who's the guy that scored against us last time.
Souček.
It was Souček. It was we lost him on a on a set piece.
Yeah, and I'll
And he scored on the back post.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, that's probably what they're going to take advantage of.
So we know there's a lot of pressure on the players, and this is what I want everybody to kind of weigh in on. I'll start with Roy, but everybody weigh in on this. There's a lot of pressure on the players. But there is, in my opinion now, a little bit more pressure mounting on Ollie. Not to say that his job should be in danger for losing a couple of games. Like, by no means am I saying that. I'm not one of those people who come for Ollie every time. The players in this situation definitely didn't show up. Nobody can blame Ollie for what happened against Everton, because we looked a different monster in the first half. I was giddy watching the Bruno Fernandes goal and the Cantona stance. It felt like old days. But there is that little piece of the back there where we still don't have any silverware under Ollie. Do you guys think there's a little pressure now? Would you be, I guess it's a twofold question. Do you think he's a little bit under more pressure? Would you be happy with us just getting to a final and not winning it? Or do you think we need to win some silverware under Ollie this year? Or is it still, he has one more year to prove?
I think he's been in the job about 2 years now?
Just about.
Yeah. I think also because it's Man United, they need some form of silverware because of the stature of the club. And also for some players who are in like the final years of their contract, so like your Pogba's, because it'll be a shame for Pogba to leave on a not winning the Premier League kind of legacy. I feel like he deserves it. So, you know, in regards to your question about winning silverware, yeah, Ole needs to kind of come up with the goods, but I don't feel like we should put that much pressure on him, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. Ahmed, what do you think?
Yeah, I could say that. It is a bit of a worrying. It's a bit of a worrying situation. Right now, we're currently playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of positivity in attack, but at the back, what does Ollie do with our defenders during training sessions to encourage them to play a lot better, be more confident and be more brave? And I'm talking about the back five here, not the back four, because the goalkeeper is included. We have, as obviously to Cam's unfortunate deterrent, we have David De Gea still making these very, uncharacteristically unforced errors. He shouldn't be doing these, especially with the way we've been going on recently. But he faced 3 shots on Saturday and conceded 3 goals. It's obvious to see he is still not at his best at the moment, which we will have to eradicate sooner rather than later. This is Dean's opportunity tomorrow night, because he will not only will he be able to impose himself as a figure in the penalty area, but in elements when he's played for United this season, there are days obviously where things aren't his fault, like the Istanbul game, and I think there was another match he didn't have much luck in, Liverpool as well, where he conceded 2. A lot of it's not his fault per se. It's more the defenders letting him down. He's put in performances which demonstrate the ability and elements of the game that are lacking in David's, which make fans feel a lot more confident in giving him a run in the team right now. As for the back four, you've had the fullbacks playing very well recently. They've been assisting goals. They've been very effective in the final third. It's just the centre-back position, which is the great worry for us. We have one player, despite his price tag, he does put okay performances in. That's something I'm happy with. I'm sure some fans are happy with that too. But there is also the other part of his game where he can demonstrate his lack of pace, or he's shown up at times where he can't perform in big games. So it's not a lot of times this season where he hasn't been shown, or he has been shown up to struggle in big matches, but he's always had that partner which either makes a rash challenge, makes a wrong pass or a wrong decision, and that more or less is sometimes Victor Lindelof. And then also, as I mentioned, Axel Tuanzebe, sometimes he doesn't get a lot of game time. He's had 2 or 3 good performances this season, but there's just that error or 2 in him, like the Sheffield United game and the game against, I think it was against Istanbul, where he came on
and
and Leicester as well. There's only a few moments. This is obviously him learning learning the trade and everything, getting through the
Hold
hard
on.
bit.
You say learning, and when I hear that with Twanzebe, people forget he had his stint at Aston Villa. He's 24 years old. At this point, I don't believe he's. And this is like, again, I don't like coming down hard on young players, but when you are 23, 24, you've kind of, we know if you're United quality or not at that point. I think you've reached a stage, and it's funny because Jesse Lingard hit United quality at like 25, but like most players in our team who have been around, by the time they're 23, 24, you're like, you either are going to be here.
I'm trying to defend him, Cam, as much as I can, but
I think it's, and I get it. He's had a rough week, and I don't condone any of what's going on. But when you brought up Twanzebe, literally, and you say he's learning the trade, it hits me, and I'm like, people forget he went.
Sorry, Roy. Sorry.
I was gonna say, if you think of it, like he's 23, 24, age-wise, but he's not used to the big occasions. Do you know what I mean? So obviously his stint at Villa, that was good for him in terms of getting first team experience. But if you look at the weight that Man United holds overall, anyone coming into that first 11, there is a level of expectations, whether you're 18 or 25. So someone like Mason Greenwood, by the time he's 24, he will know what he will be able to deal with the pressures of playing in regular Champion League games, FA Cup finals, derby games. So he'll be used to that, the big occasions. I don't feel like Twanzebe is cut out for the big occasions as of yet, or deal with the pressures of we're fighting for a Premier League title as opposed to trying to make it to playoffs or get promoted to the Premier League. I mean, I'm not to say it's not a big occasion, but playing for Man United, trying to win the league, as opposed to playing for Villa, trying to get promoted, I think one is holds much more weight than the other. So like I said, by the time Greenwood gets to that age of being 24, he would have experienced all of those occasions, having come in at such a young age, and being in the limelight and dealing with those pressures. So I feel like Oli putting him in at in that game situation, it was poor management. I feel like he could have just kept, because there was nothing wrong with how things were. Yeah, we conceded 2 goals, we got 1 back. There wasn't nothing wrong. Like, the team was still playing well defensively. And you got someone like Twanzebe who doesn't know how to deal with game management like that. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I'm not going to throw his age into it. I just feel like it's more of an experience thing, in my opinion.
For me, he could go out on loan again to a Premier League because, like you said, is a big difference. I think even potentially trying to go into the Premier League, so Championship and the actual Premier League. I was saying before, potentially could look at maybe even like a West Ham. I'm not saying that they would want him, but something that level where it's higher. Say even like they're pushing for the Europa League or something, pushing for something, so that he does know that pressure of the Premier League and he does know expectation on him. Yeah, it's never you can't replicate, coming on to playing at Old Trafford week in, not week in, week out, but getting that little experience at Old Trafford. But like you say, I think he's had that experience in the Championship. I think he might need that experience in the Premier League. But then at the same time, there's injuries. Eric Bailly gets injured a lot. Lindelof gets injured a lot. So he needs a centre back that he can call on. And obviously that's Twanzebe. And I think Twanzebe had a good game in Paris. So he shows that he's got that level about him. But I do see what you mean. It's like he's missing something and he can't, not like there yet. And he needs some extra pieces to the puzzle just to learn and develop into that potentially what he could be. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you compare someone like Twanzebe to look at Wesley Fofana, who's younger, but is extremely a much better defender, in my opinion.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So again, it just goes to show, no matter what your age, if you're old enough, if you're good enough, you're old enough, as they would say in football. And like I said, somebody like Twanzebe will do good in a team like your Leicesters or your Wolves, people trying to get into Europas and your Champions League, because they know every game counts for the end goal. You know, rather than paying for a team like a Sheffield or Burnley who's just trying to, you know,
I would send him back.
themselves in the Premier League.
At one point, Aston Villa was interested in getting him back. I would like.
It was after they got promoted, ironically.
Yeah, it was, and I get why we didn't send him back, because all he's looking at his options and thinking, one injury to buy in, I don't have a center back, and got to play Scott back there like he does for Scotland. Which, I mean, he'd probably do a better job based on what I've seen in the Scottish.
Something
game.
else, Cam, is we got to highlight here. We've also just sold Marcus Rojo. So we're now one centre-back lighter than we were before the end of January. Now, Rojo obviously has been in Argentina all the time, so it's clear to see he was on the league, he was leaving anyway. But having let him go, we're now a lighter in that position. Phil Jones has just come back from injury. Now, none of us, I think all of us agree here, despite how long he's been at the club and what he's achieved at Manchester United, he's not the most, standout candidate to play alongside Harry Maguire. So from the outset, we've pretty much ruled him out. The other two, Lindelof is more or less playing on pain because he's been injured for a while since the Leicester match with that back problem. Then on top of that, you also have the Eric Bailly issues with injury and so and so. So obviously we are targeting a centre back in the summer. But in the short term, we've talked about Tuanzebe. Yes, it's been hard for him off the pitch, but on it, I'd like him to just have a bit of confidence, try and show he can cement that position, and maybe even put some doubts in Ollie's head about his original opinion on him, like Dean's done with David De Gea. If anything, Dean Henderson's proving not only on the pitch in matches, but in training, he's outperforming David in that field. David's still not at his best form, and he's 30 now. Keepers would start to peak at this point. Whereas a centre-back obviously is a little bit more aggressive. You're going hard in your younger ages. For him, I think it's a good opportunity now to demonstrate that he can grab the ball by the horns and show that he's able to give United what they need as like a temporary stopgap until we can bring someone properly solid in.
And I think for me, this is where the pressure of I do feel Ollie needs to win something this year, not so much to appease the fans or to appease the team as much, but there's a big part of winning that's strong for recruiting. And when you talk about the center back position right now in the world, this is probably the worst we've seen when it comes to defending just across the world in a long time. There's no Cannavaros, there aren't these guys anymore that the whole Italy team I could name probably back in the day. The France team, there's a lot of phenomenal defenders back then. You think about the United defenders in Vidic, Rio, Stam, those guys, those don't exist anymore. So the ones you can get, which is why we had to spend 80 million on Maguire, it becomes an arms race. And I've said this many times, I do not want us to go for Upamecano because I do not want I don't want to be in a bidding war. It doesn't make sense. And right now, if we can come out, win an FA Cup, finish in the Champions League spots, because that's what it's probably going to be, show teams we're going to challenge for the league. Wow, Ahmed doesn't even believe the Champions League spots real anymore. I saw that head shake. Jeez.
No.
Jeez,
well, here's why I shook my head just a minute ago. It's about the transfers and not the.
Okay, but so anyway,
remember, I stand firm on what I say when it comes to our league position. I promise you. I'm still certain we must secure the Champions League football to get these players in.
Yeah.
Without it, kiss our hopes goodbye.
I completely agree. Top four is a must, and I'm not even worried about that anymore. It's a foregone conclusion in my mind. But winning something, you then have the Koundés, the Konatés who we're talking about now, those other guys who, listen, Koundés at Sevilla, who they win trophies. They win the Europa League like every other year. They are always in the conversation to win trophies in La Liga. So if you're going to come to the Premier League and not feel you can win a trophy because winning the league is a big gap, which is why we have to close that gap. If you don't feel you could do that, why would you leave, right? Or why would you pick us when there's clearly other teams going for him and vying for him? Our biggest transfer mistake over the years, and I'm not even going to bring up Sancho, not signing Diaz when he was just there for the taking. We were in conversations and we decided not to go for him. We can't make that same mistake this year. But to not make that same mistake, we have to be able to beat out Chelsea, who desperately need another center back or two, because Thiago's he's getting older. He doesn't look he looks fine, but he's getting older and he's getting injured. You look at Liverpool. Liverpool just signed 2 people none of us ever heard, but maybe you guys did. But I heard some things about the one dude from Schalke. I don't know much about the dude from the Championship. Liverpool's going to go buy a center back. Like, it's a foregone conclusion. So you now have City, not City, because City has 18 of them, but you now have Liverpool, Chelsea to compete with. I mean, Leicester that we don't really ever have to worry about, but then you still have Tottenham who has pull. Arsenal sometimes has some pull. I don't want to compete with these teams, so I want to be able to go out and be like, look, you're coming to a winning side. We just won a big trophy in England. It should be an easy sell. With that, I did want to move on to the section where I like bringing up who you guys believe should be starting. Natalie, I'll start with you. Who you believe should be starting in the game coming up? Starting with the attack, who would you pick as your front 3? And you can move through the whole team if you like.
Yeah, well, I'm big on Cavani starting. I think he brings, for me, I think he's one of our best forwards, if not our best forward. I play Rashford there. I play Greenwood. I think a lot of people are saying about Dino. I think he's ready now. I know he's gone from front to goalkeeper, but I would play him. I'm not sure about like whether we would sell David, but I think definitely playing Dean, and then I'm not sure David would want it, but potentially being that number 2 or something like that. I do like Scott McTominay. I'm one of these people. I know people might not like him, but I do really rate him. I do think he's a good quality player, and I think people might kill me now, but I do like that guy who will work, who will give everything, he'll do everything. And I know people think, oh, he's not that, skilled or this or that. And I'd like to see him try with Van der Beek. I mean, Van der Beek played the last game. When we did play West Ham, he started it and he was sort of bullied out of it, I think, a bit. He had to come off. I think as well that game, potentially not playing Bruno was the massive mistake, and then Bruno as he came on. But, I do like to see Scott play. I think Fred's a really good in there with him as well. Listen, that's my opinion. Those are the guys I like. Those are the guys I'd want to see playing. It's not up to me. It's up to Ollie, and I do think that most times we've seen him getting it right, basically, Ollie. But I'm up for everyone like having their opinion, and on all them different players that I said. But that's what I do like to see.
Rory, who would you pick in your team?
From back to front, obviously I want to see Hendo because I feel like he's somebody who would take charge. Obviously, if you look at his record that he for Sheffield last season, I think he was top 3 keepers for most clean sheets in the league. So I do have that bit of confidence in terms of he'll be like a much more better screener. Back for Shaw, Maguire, Bailly, Wan-Bissaka goes without saying. I want to see Fred, Van der Beek, Bruno. Obviously, I like Fred defensively. For someone who's 5'0", throws himself about. He's got a forward pass on him, which is I like as well. He's got a bit of composure about him. Doesn't make too much mistakes. I've got a bit of confidence in him. Van der Beek more for a confidence thing, and he's quite clever player as well. Especially attacking wise, he's got an eye for getting into those little pockets and spaces and doing those little passes. Obviously, Bruno, don't need to say much. Attack, Cavani, Rashford. I want to say Martial. He's got a good record against West Ham. He's scored quite a lot of goals against them since we've bought him. So I would say for his stats against West Ham, I will put Martial over Greenwood.
All right. I'll go in and I'll let you bring it home on it. And just to do some admin again, if you're watching live, like and subscribe. Go check us out on YouTube. Hit the bell so you get the notification, so you don't have to just see us on Twitter. And then get involved in the comments on YouTube. That's where I normally see them. I'm sure people comment on Twitter, and I miss those. I apologize. So I'll go front to back. And Rory, we actually agree with Martial this week. We didn't last week, and I was wrong. Cavani did start, and he had a pretty instantaneous impact, and I was wrong. But I'll take that. I'll hold my hands up. But I do believe Martial should start this game. And I'm going to say I would start him in lieu of Cavani because I'm just so weary of him getting injured. I agree with Natalie. Cavani's a different class for me. He came in and he did justice to that number 7 shirt. I was one of the people who crucified everybody for giving him that shirt. I went mad on the terrace. I was like, why did we have to do the only thing we did wrong with that transfer rather than waiting to the end, which I think that was always the plan, was giving him the shirt. And he's done us proud and removed the curse. So thank you, Cavani. That being said, we have to close the gap in the league, and we will not be able to do it without Cavani. So if he's playing in cup games and he's playing against West Brom and he's playing against Newcastle, the man's going to get hurt because he does have a little bit of a history. And we're doing a good job of protecting him so far. And I get it. Ollie trusts him, so he's going to throw him in there probably. But I want to see Martial get in there. He seems to be getting a little bit more confidence back. Rashford, I also would sit. I know, I get it. We have to beat West Ham, but I would sit Rashford just for the first bit because I understand people say start your strongest team, then win. But Rashford is another player that worries me. We lose Rashford, our season's done. We could drop out of the top 4. And that is, for me, the goal. You give Dan James his little, Rory, just jump in.
Sorry, just to cut you. Was it last year that we lost Pogba and Rashford? And actually done quite well. So I'm not going to put too much on Rashford in terms of him getting injured. I feel like,
But Martial was in such form.
Well, Martial and Bruno were the outstanding players in Pogba's and Rashford's absence. So I feel that, like I said, they've already got that chemistry. Again, we've done a double over City. So I do feel that even if we lose Rashford, it's not going to be too much of a loss. But again, it's one of those, we don't know until it happens.
That's fair. I just like to protect the kid because he has been putting in a shift, and the thing is, when Rashford gets tired, his game does fall off. Like, you do see a significant drop when Rashford's not healthy, and like, you can feel it. You see him out there and you see a drop, and he's giving his all, and he just can't, and it hurts his body. Like when his back went out, that was one of the saddest things for me to watch. When you could see him, he did the interview with Ryan Giggs, and he could barely sit. He was running on the pitch and stopping every few moments. I don't want to see that this year. And then I would go with the rest, a fairly strong team. I would still have Greenwood be in there. I would have Martial lead the line, and I put Dan James on the left just to be a pest, just to run around and do what he does. I would then start Bruno because Bruno doesn't want to sit ever, and that's fine. He seems to have this different type of stamina. Like Jesse Lingard could run all day. Bruno seems to have that, so I'm happy to have him start. I would give Donny van de Beek a chance beside Bruno because Donny van de Beek seems to play really well with smart players. Him and Mata, when they played together, they looked really, it was fun. They're doing a lot of the layoffs, the quick turns. I loved seeing it. And then no one's going to crucify you on this channel for Scott McTominay being picked. Scott McTominay, for me, has shown a lot. He's not a DM. That's the thing. And people don't understand that. He's not, but he's putting in a shift there. Until we get a proper DM with legs, Scott McTominay, I think, needs to start. Just because he's doing his, I don't give out points for effort, but when your effort has outputs to it, then I will. Because he is out of position a lot of the times because his instinct is to get forward, get in the box, get himself into position to hit those long shots, which he's been doing beautifully for us. He looked amazing against Leeds. He looked great last game as well. The header, also the height. People have to understand West Ham United are a massive team. Antonio, Souček, these guys are big men. You need somebody in there who's going to be able to battle, jostle, and we've seen it with Scott, especially in the PSG games. He loves a fight, and I want to see that. So I'm happy to have a midfield 3 of those 3. I would start Telles again and see if he can get some redemption on Bowen. If it doesn't look like he can, you bring Shaw in. We have to start Aaron Wan-Bissaka. There's literally nobody else. It's that bad at this point. There's literally nobody you can play on the right side. And then I don't think Bailly's fit, so you still go with your center back pairing of Harry Maguire and Lindelof. And Dino, for me, this is it. Dino, take hold. This is your chance. I want to see Dino in that box. When he kind of hurt Maguire and everybody, not Maguire, Bailly, and everybody's like, oh, he's hurting his own players. I want to see Dino run through players in this game. I want that United box to become a dangerous place again because they all just crowd around De Gea because nobody's worried about him. I would love to see Dino just punch a ball and hit a guy in the back of the head and go to VAR and just be like, he went for the ball. And just let that be a lesson. Don't come in the box anymore. So that would be the team I would pick. I know it's a bit weird putting Dan James out there and then again not having Cavani, but there is an element of the league is far too important. As much as I want to win a trophy, is far too important at this stage to have any more slip-ups. We cannot have any more slip-ups. Chelsea's 6 points behind us. Liverpool's kind of dead a bit. Leicester is a fantastic team. There's still a lot of danger of us slipping a bit. And I don't want to see any of that.
Yeah.
Ahmed, who's your team?
Yeah, just touching on teams around us. Obviously, I hate admitting that we have to surrender the title the way we are now. But the teams around us will be focusing on winning a trophy as well as us, and I think we'll see a lot of jostling between now and the end of the season. I do worry the likes of, Chelsea, Leicester will start, and even West Ham a little bit will start to get a little bit of a run going. Liverpool's, if they get their act together, should secure top 4 with no worries at all. But it's really each individual team will have to improve their form one way or another, because it's this awkward period now where we start to see the games ramp up for some of the teams. Those who play in Europe now will have more matches to play, and some will have to travel God knows where. But as for tomorrow, again, I'm bearing in mind that we play West Brom next Sunday. So I want a different team on Sunday to play against the one that will play West Ham tomorrow. And I want that game on Sunday to be one where key men are rested for Sociedad. And where the game will take place, I don't know. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Rumours are it might be held where these guys play. But at the moment, it will definitely be Dino in goal. He will need this opportunity to show that he can keep challenging De Gea as a number one candidate in the net. And then I need to think about who can deal with this physical presence best. Hence why I'm thinking McTominay or Matic should play this match. If Matic plays, it's more just to help out on set pieces and be an aerial nuisance in the penalty area for West Ham in both boxes. Whereas if I want McTominay to play, I'll have energy. I'll have someone who he doesn't progress the ball too well from back to front, but he does that job at least of being a presence there. He scored on Saturday as well, so his confidence must be a little high despite the result. I will go with McTominay on this occasion because it's that sort of opponent that you don't trust to give Matic a chance to, so I will see him next Thursday. Matt, so then you look, back four will probably be the same. Question on whether he wants to play Shaw just so he can get time off and give Telles a go. If he does, he'll probably give it to Telles, but back four should be the same. Just so the only change of the back five will be the keeper. Back four, though, will need to be drilled. They need to be good aerially. They must deal with that run so checkmates from front post to back post. He did that against United in the first game. He got his suspension lifted today, which in a positive outlook in football terms, with United opinion, it's a good thing because it means now that West Ham at full strength, they have no excuses. They can't say they didn't have their best player on the pitch who's been good in recent weeks. We can't ignore Declan Rice either because he's quality as well. I
forgot about Declan Rice.
How have we overlooked him?
I want him in our team. I don't know how I overlooked him. He can hit it too. He had a rocket against us the last game, and I remember whoever, I can't remember who it hit. It hit one of our players, and I felt bad.
Yeah, he's a deadly player from outside the box, not only on the ball, but also in terms of shooting and all that stuff. But his general role is to, let's say, keep that midfield well drilled and have the ball at feet. Someone needs to be on him all the time. The problem is, who can I trust to be on him? That's where Fred comes in. Yes, it sounds very generic going with McFred, but you need energy to compensate for the height. Yes, they have to sit back and sit in front of the defense in this game. But I think if United play how they did in the first half on Saturday against West Ham tomorrow, at least this time kill the game off, then there's more chance of pulling one or two of these out and say, all right, you've done your job, mate. Just get yourself on the bench. Let this guy have 30 minutes. And then focus on West Brom on Sunday. Because the sooner you kill the game off, like we did last week against Southampton, options open up for players to get minutes and energy to show that they can still play a part in this team. So I wouldn't be surprised if, the back six, the 4 defenders and the 2 pivots do their jobs well tomorrow. Supply the attackers who will be Greenwood, Fernandez, James, and this is a hard one. I say Greenwood because he needs a goal. He needs confidence. I say James on this side because Rashford needs a moment on the bench. If we need him, we call him on. We did that against West Ham. We probably will against West Ham last time. We'll probably may do it again. So James, Greenwood on either side. James on the left, Greenwood on the right. Fernandez in the middle. Because it's a Premier League team, and I still think it's Fernandez's remit to have a go. And then up front, I want Martial to be up front. I know it sounds silly in my head, in people's heads. Martial for me though, he's scored a couple recently. He didn't play on Saturday, so that might be a reason. There may be a reason that Ollie didn't go with him on Saturday afternoon. So it may be an opportunity for him to play tomorrow as the lone striker and prove that he can still do it against opposition. This game last season, he did have a role to play in our equaliser when we were chasing top 4. So he will have, I'd hope, from last week getting 2, a good amount of confidence to go out and take them on. Plus, because he's good with the ball at his feet and is strong against the likes of Ogbono and Dawson, and he may even be that Issa Diop plays this game tomorrow. These guys are physical. They will make it hard. I think the presence of Martial, he's not tall, but he does lack energy, but just tell him to stay up front and let him do the job there, and don't worry about the overall scope of the game. When we're defending, just be in shape. But his job, when you get the ball, just get it forward and progress it along to the wings.
It's kind of funny. You said tell him to stay up front, which is the one thing Martial just really struggles to do.
It's annoying, though.
If he did it, he would be a lot better.
Exactly. But that's the problem. I'm a bit of the type that I won't risk Rashford tomorrow night because I want him fit for Sunday because he will have a field day against West Brom. I absolutely am confident that will be a good day for him. And then he can, hopefully, if he kills, like I said about tomorrow, the sooner we kill the game off, the better chances he will get to get more rest, more time on the bench, and focusing on. For me, what I think is the serious games now is the Premier League games. What happens in the FA Cup and in the Europa League will work itself out. If United perform well, we'll see.
I want to address this comment. I actually hope that he does well enough and you guys buy him permanently. Not because I don't think Jesse is good enough for United anymore. I just think with the talent we brought in at midfield, he's too much of an overlap and he's just not as good as those players. But I tweeted out the other day, players, when they find their level, play very well. And it seems like Jesse Lingard's level is now West Ham, and that's not to be disrespectful. I believe West Ham, if they're trying to push to become a Europa side, to be a bit more prevalent in the top 10, top 6, top 8 area, Jesse Lingard is a good buy for you.
Let's remember, he's also won the competition.
But that being said, I would love for the deal to somehow allow us to get Declan Rice.
Some make weights would be very good.
I think anyway, what I'm saying about, I think start your team strong, go out there, see it out first half, then look at taking the sub off. That's why, in a way, that's why I say Cavani, because start it strong, win the game. Really, we should have won the game in that first half, versus Everton. Yeah. But we know that 2-0 is not. So go out there, get 3-4 maybe. This is just my opinions. I think go out there, hammer them, and then take off. So that's why I would play Rashford and Cavani and, go out there strong, attacking, and then take it off. And that's how I'd go. I get you. But for me, West Brom should be able to beat them with the team that we're thinking about playing now. So it's West Ham had a game.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I agree with Natalie in terms of is what you got to look at the kind of team West Ham is current in the league as well. So as much as every team has to kind of sacrifice some one target, and obviously I think for West Ham, I feel like they depending on how well they do in the cup will determine how they're going to do in the league, and obviously vice versa. So we need to look at this. I'm coming from a standpoint of West Ham's running games and where they are in the league. So I would start my team strong against the FA Cups. We're allowed 5 subs. So even if we kill the game off early, so all those strong players that we don't really want to start but have to start. Again, if we're 3-0 up in the first 45 minutes, we can make the changes, rest those guys for Sunday. So like I said, it's one of them ones we can't take any chances. I feel like Ole's pretty much done that because we don't know what our strongest 11 is at this current moment. Yeah, he's done well to kind of shift things and give players green time and all that lovey-dovey man management thing. But at the same time, you're Man United. You're a team who is the most biggest team in the world, most dominant team in the Premier League history. Why are we not, taking each game by the scruff of the neck and letting each team know that, look, we're United. We may not be the 1999 team, the Busby Babes, or the class of 92, but we're Man United and we're here to kind of dominate. And like I said, got to give Ole credit. He's done a fantastic job, but we need to find our strongest team and stick with it. And then, I say use everything, that we got going against us to our advantage. Really.
I don't disagree with that, and that is the popular opinion, and I do agree with Nat saying the team that I'm mentioning should be of no problem against West Brom. But it's just we've seen in the past when we say, it was 1-0 against West Brom with our strong team. So I do get worried about that. I want to move on to score predictions to end up the show. So Rory, what's your score prediction? I know everybody said they think there's multiple goals in here, so I'm curious what the predictions are.
I'm gonna say 2-1. We'll win it 2-1, but we'll either concede first or we'll do what we've done against Everton. We'll go 2 goals up and then they'll score. I think quite in the final third of the game. So at the last half an hour to go, giving them belief to kind of keep attacking us, and then we'll play a low block.
Ahmed?
Just quickly, I agree with your point on a strong team. My hope is that we do kill it off so that I'm not scared for the next game. Because I want us to go out and, put West Brom to bed on Sunday, so that'll be nice. And then focus on the next Thursday. But in terms of tomorrow, it's the thing with United is now they are doing things that we want them to do. We want them to get in the lead as soon as possible. We want them to kill off games. And the fear that I have is something like Saturday will happen again if we're not disciplined enough to kill off the game the sooner we get into the second half. So, for example, let's say Luke Shaw scores on Saturday 3-0. This game doesn't end 3-3. We pretty much stop Everton from scoring at least 3 of the last goal. At least we at least reduce the scoring 2. So the sooner United can get 3-0 up in a game like this tomorrow, I feel we'll be able to just shut it out. But my genuine suggestion or my genuine feeling, West Ham might go for it early on and they'll get the first goal. United will probably come out later in the half and equalise. It might go down to the wire, but 2-1 United. How they do it, whether it's extra time, I don't care. But we just have to get it done. FA Cup ties have no replays, so this has to be done on the night. We must avoid playing another 30 minutes under any circumstances. So important result. Yeah, important we win tomorrow, but 2-1 for me.
Nat?
Because Reese is watching 3-0. No, I think 3-2 Man United. I think, it'll be like what everyone's saying, there'll be 1 goal in it. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, tight. But I am confident in our attack, and I'm well, I don't know. Maybe this is the thing with me. But I'm confident it won't happen again. And maybe that's my mistake. Maybe I never learned from them. But
your faith is well placed, Natalie.
Yeah, I think we've we've seen it. Sort of, he has changed things around, Ollie, and he is doing really well. And yeah, they're letting him down with what the way it did, but I don't think it'll happen again. And maybe that's me being too nice on them, but I just don't think it'll happen that soon again. But who knows?
I'm saying 3-1, and I think it will be a case of us going up 2-0, West Ham scoring, and then us killing it late and just getting that little bit of a breathing moment. I think West Ham will go for it heavily when they get to 2-1, and then we'll do what we do on the counter and just end it, and it'll be a valiant effort. But for not. Anyway, I just want to say thank you guys again for coming on the stream. Thanks everybody for watching. Again, like, subscribe, retweet, whatever that you might want to do. We'll be here for the review. I believe it'll be Ahmed on the review.
It is me from a very different place. I'll be doing it from a football stadium tomorrow.
There you go.
It'll be really fun.
And I'll be back for the preview for the West Brom game. So let's go United. Thanks again.
Well done, people. See you later.